Hello, everyone. It's another day on tax and finance matters. This week, we will still be focusing on the GENCOS and the DISCOS, as well as the oversight mechanisms. And I have with me again our veteran, most amiable Uncle Tom. You're welcome, sir.
You will make my head swell. Thank you. Thank you.
So you're welcome, sir. We stopped on the national grid. This national grid, and you were suggesting that we should have mini grids instead of saying, okay, let's have it big. Can we start from private investors investing in mini grids across the 6 geopolitical zones, and possibly some other, even in communities? What stop us from having mini grids at state level?
Yes, I'm always very honest to admit my limitations. I think what we should do in this country is call a kind of should I say a conference? No, an expert committee to tell us which way forward, because we can't continue the way we are now. The DISCOs are not performing to our satisfaction. I don't know about the transmission company of Nigeria that is supposed to, link them up with the energy from the generation. Well, there's a model. That model, we must bust it, and we must keep Nigeria lighted up and move forward. And what we need is experts across the value chain of electricity to say, what should we do? How should we achieve 24-hour electricity supply? That's the because if we don't do it, our economy will just remain comatose. I mean, you see, and in any case,
because it's already in comatose,
and people will not, organization will not be able to pay tax. If an organization collapses, then can it pay tax? If it's underperformance, then can it, that's why we hear about tax evasion here and there. Most organizations that are buoyant, they are so concerned about their tax obligations because they know that if they default, then there will be sanctions and all that, and they don't want that. It's only organizations that are struggling that will also try to evade tax. So that's the relationship we must begin to build.
If they are running at a loss, for instance, because they are not lighted up, they don't have enough electricity supply to, carry out their operations, then there's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
And then
they cut corners, they try and evade tax here and there and all that, which means the money available to us to deliver on social services will also be limited.
Absolutely.
So it's in our own interest to get organizations working, companies working, because when they are working, they will employ people. When they employ people, then the productivity will increase, and then, every employed person will pay tax. So it's in the interest of government to make sure that the energy sector works.
Sir, I like that word.
Yeah.
Or that phrase. Yeah. It's in our own interest.
Oh, yes.
Not a word. It's like a sentence, a phrase.
Yeah.
It's in our own interest.
Yeah.
As a government.
Yeah.
Because we are the government.
Yeah.
But of course, we know the leadership. Yeah. In government, we were told that government is the government of the people, for the people, by the people.
Yeah.
So it is in the interest of every one of us. So talking about it's in the interest of government, the leadership.
Yeah.
What do you think is the role they have to play urgently in this energy?
Well, the leadership should show example. Okay. Let the government pay up outstanding commitment to DISCOS. Government cannot afford to be a debtor to struggling businesses. That's a starting point. It's a moral obligation. Apart from being a moral obligation, there's sense in it. Then government should evaluate the performances of each and every DISCO. And if there are DISCOs that have fallen short of expectations, you withdraw their license and give it to another organization.
That is ready to perform.
Yeah, this is not charity. And let's not limit ourselves, because we are in a global economy and we must be partakers. We must we must be active. It's only there are no hard and fast rules about it. If your performance is good, then your economy becomes better, and then you have more pride and clout to influence developments.
Yeah, because if the economy is good, security challenges here and there will reduce.
Do you know the parts of this world that are more buoyant are these Nordic countries, some of these small so-called small European countries. Sweden is the home of Volvo. Sweden, if you look at Sweden, you see Volvo is not just the fancy car.
Oh, no, at least I have one small, tiny one, and I know that it is very strong.
A
very small one.
Yeah, the big, these big trucks, and they are from Volvo, And there's a city in Volvo called Malmö. It's for a long time had the reputation of being the most mechanized city in the world, where everything just works clockwise. Wow. Transportation, everything, So, and yet, when we talk about great countries, we talk about the superpowers, No,
we neglect
the countries of the world, the Denmark, Sweden, small countries. First, they use their languages, and that does not prevent them from acquiring technology. No, those are decisions we must make in this country. Because why are we not teaching our children the local language so that they can use that local language to exploit technology? The Chinese, they're using their language,
And that's another topic for another day.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to delve into that.
Exactly.
On PRAWA Radio.
Yeah. So actually, we are talking about how we can find solutions to energy problems. Let's go to one small European country. I'm not saying this because I've been mentally colonized. If it's not a European country, it can even be an African country who can that has gotten it right to say, look, how are you doing it? However, it is quite possible that if we are able to motivate our experts, they can even tell us what to do about our energy situation. So I'm not closing my mind to possibilities, but the important thing is who has the solution. I'm sure there are Nigerians who have worked, long enough in the energy sector, electricity energy sector, who will be able to say, look, this is what is wrong, because they are stakeholders.
What should be done.
Let us tap their brain. Let us now chart a way forward. It's so embarrassing for about, last night we had electricity for about 2 hours. 2 hours. As at the time I left home this morning, there was no electricity, And then, like I said, there was a time for 3 months we didn't have electricity. Excuses here and there. Why should there be excuse for critical issues?
For an issue that can go a long way in stabilizing our economy. Because if there is adequate electricity supply, people are ready to pay.
Exactly.
People are ready. Do you know how much it costs to, maybe you use at least 10 liters on your generator?
Yeah.
That's about 10,000 naira or even 15,000 in some places.
Yeah.
15,000 naira
exactly.
in a day to power your business. How much is the profit that you are spending 50,000 naira to power your business? are even talking about the formal sector. What about the informal sector?
No, that's just what about
the
big
the woman frying akara there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And who could have like a small kiosk that there will be fan or something, make it clean. But because she cannot afford, she just fries it by the gutter, and people eat, and then we say there's cholera everywhere. Reducing, we're increasing mortality rate, reducing the productivity of youth, You see how it is really, it has a value chain effect on the economy of the country.
If people individually are not productive, then they can't even pay tax. And they become a drain on the economy. And then if they are unemployed, then they become a hazard.
The tendencies to be offenders.
Yes.
Offenders against the law has, become really, really pronounced. And, PRAWA, we work to prevent crime, to prevent violence and torture.
All those who are undermining this country, by acquiring, by engaging in primitive consumption, that is diverting resources of the state to their pockets and all that, they are sinning against the Nigerian people.
The citizens.
Yeah. Because you just can't dip your hands into the coffers of government. I'm sure some of them, they will also have to pay for it in one way or the other. Because they create this situation and there is insecurity.
That is it. I was going to say, of course, if you create this situation and we have a lot of unemployed youth or unemployed individuals out there, it's not as if they are not intelligent. Yeah. It's not as if they don't have the certificate. Yeah. It's not as if they don't want to work. But you can't just... Of course, there will be insecurity. Because
of this problem of electricity, we don't use... They don't use public power supply to power street lights. But the implication of that, if you go to Abuja at night, most of these, if you go to the federal secretariat, you see darkness all over the place. That's insecurity. All kinds of things happen.
Absolutely. Darkness is synonymous to insecurity. It's tantamount to insecurity.
Yeah.
It's tantamount to misdemeanors. Yes. It's tantamount to bad behaviors.
And stagnation of the both economy at the base level and also at the macro level. So we must rise to the occasion. That's what government is supposed to be addressing. It's not business as usual. For instance, I'm surprised that this government has really not taken a very drastic action about electricity, about the electricity sector.
Two and a half years into the administration.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any radical. I haven't seen any disco brought to to say, look, you are not performing well. You give an ultimatum. Say, look, you must provide electricity for, if you can't do 24 hours, please, you must do at least 12, and I must monitor your performance. And if you don't meet the target, we're going to withdraw your license.
Uncle T, could it be because the government as well is not fulfilling its own part of the agreement to the DISCOS?
Yeah, whoever goes into...
If you are fulfilling your part of the agreement, you should be able to,
Yeah, whoever goes into judgment must come with equity. Yes, government, you do your own part. How much is this ministry owing, You can even deduct from source. Exactly. Say, look, I'm supposed to give you this money by this budget. However, you are owing this. I'm going to pay to the... Pay, let's see how it goes. Don't just sit on it and see nothing's happening.
So that means we have a very big problem of oversight, of monitoring, of evaluations. Yeah. That's a big challenge that we have there. And it's not as if these things are not in our constitution. Yeah. It's not as if we don't have the MDGs or the MDAs that are responsible.
In the first place, when they talk about oversight in Nigeria, we're talking about a process of corruption, of extortion. What is oversight? Let an organization submit its report, namely its accomplishments, its limitations, and then you go there and cross-check. That's what oversight ought to mean. Not for you to say, oh, look, what happens, if they tell you what happens in this, especially from assembly, it's horrible. So oversight is not what you would have expected, or making people accountable.
At the National Assembly. There are committees
to
in charge of energy.
To the extent that I think some legislators were picking quarrels with the office of the chief of staff to the president that is taking over their functions of oversight functions. That's because oversight, it's a very lucrative kind of business.
So oversight is a business.
And whatever comes out of it, nothing. Oversight, then what happens? Life goes on.
Oversight is like a stewardship.
Oh, sure.
It's like a stewardship and
it's an accountability test,
Test, and
everything is open.
It's expected to be made public.
And then you now say, okay, you apply sanctions here. You say, okay, how do we rectify, the situation and move forward? Wow. That's the whole idea. But we never see all this.
Thank you very much, Oguchi. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I know we still have more to talk about on energy. Yeah. It's a very broad issue. Yeah. And on the next episode, sometimes we will still have you come around. Yeah. We will still have you come around, obviously.
On this note, they may not be God, but let there be light.
Let there be light. Light up Nigeria. Yeah. Thank you very much for this episode of Energy Crisis and Nigerian Economy on PRAWA Radio. We will have you another time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.